It was the type of moment where nobody spoke, the cameras were rolling, and the entire set was frozen in place. Jasmine wasn't an unexpected guest. She didn't just disclose that she was expecting Kirk's child. She took a direct aim at the target. This time, Rashida was still in shock at the loss when Jasmine smirked and said, "You'll never be his wife again." Her tone was icy and arrogant, as if she had won something. As though she were donning Rashida's crown. And the internet went into meltdown mode the instant she said those words. Supporters cried out betrayal. Cast members were shocked. Rasheeda's shell stood there as if someone had just slapped her in the soul. This was no longer a fight. It was a full-scale conflict. And baby Jasmine arrived to complete her task. Even with the studio lights turned down, the tension was unbearable. Then there was Rashida's departure, the baby's surprise, and the leaked vows. The producers believed the storm was over. They were mistaken. It wasn't a collapse that followed. A takeover occurred. As if she owned the whole set, Jasmine walked confidently into the confessional. No hesitancy, no excuses. Her hair is straight and glossy. Her pregnancy bump is a little more noticeable now. And that pointed pink blazer that the team barely had time to properly mic her when she leaned into the chair and hissed. "Y'all still crying over that man's old wife? I'm carrying his legacy now. I'm the star now," she yelled. The video went viral within 30 minutes. However, the actual mayhem had not yet started. Rashida had come back for pickups backstage. Low-key eye fatigue, hooded and still, absorbing the previous emotional shock. She wanted no drama. Before she saw the screen, she had just arrived to end her career chapter. Jasmine's unreleased confessional was playing on a monitor. Rashida then froze. She tightened her fists and parted her lips as she heard the words. That would ignite the entire Love and Hip Hop franchise. "You will never again be his wife." The room fell silent. Rasheeda merely gazed. Without saying a word, she gave a little scoff. Not laughter, but the kind of deadly scoff women make. Just before the decades clap back. She pivoted, grabbed the microphone from a surprise PA, and strode directly to the studio set. Go to the main stage, as if she had something to celebrate. Jasmine was relaxing while drinking from a Love and Hip Hop cup. Spice, Red, and Carly were whispering off to the side. Mona even popped out of the production booth. The doors then opened and Rashida entered. Shining with wrath like a woman who had finally lost it. Yet she was not crying or shaking. Shasta's T-Spice whispered to herself. "Oh." Carly's mouth fell open. She returned. Jasmine smiled as she slowly turned her head. "Well, see who developed a backbone at last." Rasheeda approached directly. "Avoid delaying. No phony TV lag, only heat. I would never again be his wife," you declared. Rasheeda's voice was icy and piercing. "When you were still slipping in the back door, baby, I was the wife." The cast let out a gasp. The cameras zoomed in. Smirking, Jasmine took a sip. "It's full. Circle, huh? And now you're divorced while I'm pregnant." Rasheeda remained unflinching. Being pregnant is not a priority. It equates to accountability. However, you wouldn't be aware of that. You continue to have main character delusions while playing the role of a side girl. Even the staff and the audience went crazy. Jasmine got to her feet, no longer on the side. "No." Rashida retaliated. "The distraction is you. Significant difference." Boom. Mic check. Play with words. Deadly Jasmine's grin dimmed. Coming from a woman whose man can't keep his zip closed, that's quite wealthy. Jasmine gave a smirk. "Sweetheart, he did more than simply sleep with me. Time and again, he made a decision. You simply continued to hide it. The wife wasn't you. The cleanup team was you. Oh. The entire set exploded. Mona gave a mouthful, continued to roll. Spice, she fanned herself, literally. Carly murmured somebody's about to swing, but Rashida didn't move. She stopped, looked Jasmine dead in the eyes, and said, "I covered his dirt for years because I had a family to protect. I stayed loyal to the lie because I thought I was building a legacy. The second I saw you flaunting a baby like it's a Birkin, I realized the only one I've been disrespecting is me." Even Jasmine looked shook for a second. Then she crossed her arms and, "But you're still unmarried." Rasheeda grinned, but it was that serene, frightful smile. The internet flipped on its axis once more as footage of Rasheeda's confrontation with Jasmine went viral on social media. What was supposed to be another messy love and hip-hop moment turned into a national conversation about self-worth, betrayal, and the tiniest clapbacks in TV history. Jasmine stood there suddenly unsure. That wasn't the reaction she wanted. She wanted Rashida to crumble. Instead, Rashida left empowered, stronger, louder, and respected, and for the first time. Jasmine began to feel that she was no longer in control. TikTok, 8.9 million views in 5 hours. Instagram, 3.2 million reels plays X. Twitter's hashtag #FreeRasheeda was trending #1 in the US, but Jasmine couldn't resist going live yes live again. She smirked at the camera while sitting in her living room with a soft glam face, holding her belly and sipping juice like nothing. You can trend all day, but the truth is, he's not choosing you anymore. He chose me. He gave me vows, and now he's giving me a grieve about it, sweetie, a commenter wrote. But didn't he grieve when Rasheeda left that too? Another added, you just got the boy. Girl. Jasmine had the man, but Rashida had him. She wasn't finished, though, and after reading the comments, she continued, listen, I'm not here to argue with people who still believe that being the wife has any significance. The entire time he was cheating on that title, it was me who caught his eye. I now have his ancestry. For a period, boom, it was a nuke of a Q. However, it backfired severely as well. Oh, Rashida's fans weren't playing because of this. Full movement started in a matter of hours. Fan pages with the hashtags, #ProtectRashida, #Legacy, and #Babies, 10 fix in single quotes to lust. Broken men began to dig through screenshots of Kirk's previous death with other women. Leaked voicemails also surfaced, including one in which Kirk allegedly begged Rashida not to leave just 2 days after the Jasmine reveal, saying, I ain't got nobody like you. I was built by you. She simply picked noise. Don't let this be the end, she. The internet was enraged by the leak. Celebrities began to respond as well. My dear Kick Palmer shared Rashida's I Choose Me video and added some vigor. Tamer Braxton remarked, I'd rather be alone than share a man like that. Rashida is too classy. Would have thrown a chair. All right. Behind the scenes, Kirk was deteriorating. He had been told to tidy up the mess by doing a sit-down confessional. He arrived late, his eyes swollen, his voice hardly audible. I never meant for it to go this far. He whispered to directors. I didn't even know about the baby until after, ... And by then, I was unaware that Jasmine would go through that much. Stuck? The producer bent over. Kirk paused before asking, Did you ever love Jasmine? I enjoyed the attention. She restored my sense of strength. However, love no, I just had love for Rashida. His face fell when he saw that dot. It was too late, he knew. The producers, however, weren't finished. They did something that nobody anticipated. A third female had emerged. I was with Kirk the night he gave Jasmine the vows, read an anonymous email that arrived in VH1's mailbox. It included hotel receipts and a voice message from Kirk that reads, I got to make it look real for the camera. But it's always been you, along with reservations and an Uber screen. Backstage at the Lado, this isn't a show anymore. This is a war zone. And baby, she was about to turn that war into ratings gold. Boom. Game over. The entire narrative flipped again. Jasmine wasn't the only side. She was just the loudest. Rashida, She'd been disrespected worse than fans ever imagined. Mona slammed her hand on the desk back at the studio. The next day, Jasmine was called to the studio under the guise of filming a clarity scene. And Jasmine showed up wearing a lime green fitted dress, her bump outlined, her nails as sharp as claws, thinking she was about to put an end to the haters once and for all. But instead, she walked into a chair, a camera, and a full dossier of receipts waiting for her. The studio had gone from wild to full-blown chaotic. And Jasmine had just gone live boasting about being the chosen one, claiming she now carried Kirk's legacy as the entire internet watched her illusion break in real time. The producer calmly said, "Have a seat." Jasmine arched an eyebrow. "Is this a tease for a reunion?" The producer didn't smile. He slid the folder across the table. Inside is a screenshot of Kirk booking a hotel on the same night he proposed his vows to Jasmine. A clip of Kirk's voice saying, "It's all for TV." An anonymous woman's voicemail reads, "He told me Jasmine was just a storyline." Jasmine's face changed from smug to shocked to outright angry as she turned the pages. "This asterisk, T, what is it?" "Ah!" she yelled. This is what you failed to notice when attempting to replace Rashida," the producer stated plainly. Jasmine slammed the folder shut and got to her feet. Nah, I don't believe it." "Kirk wouldn't. He already did," Mona replied as she abruptly burst through the curtain. "The words you came in swinging, Jasmine. But you swung for a man who was playing all of y'all." All of y'all brought tears to her eyes, but she quickly wiped them away so the cameras wouldn't capture her sobbing. "Herzing, you're lying. This is Rashida's doing. She's trying to destroy me." "No, baby," Mona replied, gently. "Destroyed you." Cut to Rashida's Airbnb. Said she was going over her DMEs while drinking tea by the window. Thousands of followers told her that she motivated them to leave their toxic situations. And the majority of them were supportive, said they were brave because of her strength. Then she received a message that completely halted her in her tracks. "I was the other woman, and I was completely unaware of his marital status. Sorry, my receipts, dates, and tattered pictures." Kay's deceptive selfie. Kirk was in the same bed, shirtless. At one point, E and Rashida shared while giggling and making peace signals. Rashida trembled. She said to herself in a whisper, "He continued to deceive us both." She grinned, rather, then wept. Not a smile of joy. A risky one. "You've done turned a good woman into a savage." 3 days later, Rasheeda shared a teaser video on Instagram with the message, "Are you ready for my side of the story? Coming soon. Rashida, the wife, the war, the walkaway." The video showed her standing in front of her closet, extracting she carefully inserted boxes. Shoes, purses, pictures, and a framed wedding picture into a blazing hearth. The comments went viral. "She's ready, I see. Are you ready? A fine historic rebranding." RN Jasmine is trembling. "I was taken out by the fire pit." And you know who kept returning to that post? Jasmine. She had returned to her condo and was clearly furious. Her phone rang. The number was blocked. Thinking it may be press instead, she replied, "You really believed you had it all, huh?" remarked a voice on the other end. "But it turns out you were only another twist in the tail." Click. She looked at the screen, panting, and then took up DMD Rasheeda and her own phone. "Are you up for a game of fire with fire?" "Mrs. Ex-wife, see if you can take the heat." The clip was released just a few hours after Rasheeda's brutal preview. Like 10 years of falsehoods burning in the fire, the wedding picture slipped into the hearth. One thing was announced on the internet: the time of Rasheeda has come. Jasmine, on the other hand, was plotting an entire ambush while the world was celebrating Rashida's rebirth, so she wasn't going to let that glow continue for long. Made a flyer first. Yes, Jasmine's narrative included a real event flyer. Kirk Frostbab will soon be celebrating. Revelation of gender. Party on a private rooftop. The entire cast is invited. The VH1 tagline was filmed at a secret location. Give the genuine wife a break. Now is my season. The comments were really crazy. Must be a joke. Throwing a party for a man who cheated on her is actually what it is. The second is that this is delusional. At this moment, she only wants to prod Rashida. The shock, however, didn't stop there. On the same day, the production crew for Rashida received an anonymous item called the other ring on a USB stick. No one had ever heard "dot" in the audio, which was an uncut video from the night of Kirk's covert proposal to Jasmine. Jasmine inquires, "Are you sure this is real? You still seeing anyone else? Okay?" And Kirk replies, "Rashida, don't know a thing. I've got this handled. You're the one I want in front of these cameras now." Bang. It wasn't only a deep betrayal, it was planned. And now, Rashida, she didn't cry. After watching the video, she took a long breath and muttered, "So that's what it always is, was a performance." She didn't scream, cry, or even call her mother. On the night of the event, she called her stylist instead, saying, "Get me something. Red, I'm going to that rooftop." Pink and blue LED lights were used to decorate Jasmine's party. There was champagne. Skyline was covered with a vast banner of baby frost. The scene was crowded with camera crews. Kirk and the other cast members appeared uneasy. Like a guy at his own funeral, he stood in the rear of the terrace with his hands in his pockets and his eyes downcast. However, Jasmine looked radiant, wearing all white, with her microphone turned on and a Grammy-winning smile. After picking up mic, he continued, "Tonight we celebrate new beginnings. Not drama, not the past, but the future. Me and Kirk's baby." The lift doors immediately opened and Rashida entered, head high, wearing a blood-red outfit that screamed war. The audience let out a gasp. Cameras flew in all directions. Mona appeared astounded as well. Kirk went white. Jasmine blinked. Rasheeda interrupted her, holding up the USB in her hand and asking, "Hi, are you?" The DJ stopped the music and said, "I brought a gift, since you like surprises." Rashida marched. Kirk's confession suddenly played aloud in front of everyone after he was led to the DJ booth, given the USB, and instructed to play track 1. "You have no idea, Rashida. I took care of this. I want you to be in front of these cameras, right? Now, quiet." Jasmine's glass fell. Kirk staggered ahead. "Hold on, that isn't relevant." Rashida, however, had the last say. She grinned and turned to Jasmine before leaving. "You said I'd never be his wife again, but you are never more than a storyline." No microphone, Rashida departed Jasmine's gender reveal party like a red-clad Avenger with a USB full of indisputable evidence, leaving her reputation in ruins and her heels on the pavement. There was more to it than a mic drop. It was a turning point in my career. Quote, "It was being devoured by every page, blog, and meme account." Rashida used receipts to air them out. At the party for his own baby, Kirk was just revealed. She authored the book and you responded. "What, Jasmine? Never his wife again. Baby, ... However, Jasmine was collapsing while Rashida was emerging as a figure of strength and composure. Okay, and leave quickly. Jasmine shared a series of mysterious tales the following morning. An uncontrolled text image of her sobbing on her toilet floor with the now-deleted remark, "They never loved me. They just used me for a story." She recorded herself typing to Kirk, "You embarrassed me. You let her humiliate me. Again." Kirk responded in private rather than in public. Someone he couldn't ignore was causing him to face a whole new storm. Frost, his daughter, the girl who had generally kept silent during her father's past scandals involving cheating, ultimately came to light. It wasn't pretty either. She gave him a call. "Dad, you said you were finished with this. You're lying to everyone once more. Even though you claim to be working things out with Mom." Kirk made an effort to protect himself. "I had no idea that she would play that audio. That wasn't the plan, Kelsey. I can't even recall saying half of that. Do you still recall ENOUGH? She lost her temper, had a family, a wife, and a daughter. You decided to seek attention. You now have to live with it. Kirk Cleek sat in silence, phone in hand, realizing that the harm was no longer limited to the camera. It was generational, profound, and personal. Rashida, meanwhile, wasn't seated motionless. She wasn't recovering in silence. She was aggressively branded on Instagram. For her forthcoming documentary, Special Wife, Warrior Woman, she shared the official poster. Rashida is the executive producer. Appearances by guests: Yandi Smith, Candy Burus, and Remy Ma. Date of streaming release: not as soon as you think. The fans were stunned. She has an entire series planned. She also brought some chocolates. Indeed, Jasmine, unable to breathe our demise. This is not a resurgence. It's a takeover. She also shared a teaser video of herself in the studio working on a brand new tune which only served to fan the flames. The lyrics were leaked. The ring was on me. The scars were worn. I'm flexing past your filthy bars right now. She had a baby from you. I bestowed a crown upon you. However, when queens step down, kings fall heavily. Jasmine was melted by the internet. It was getting out of control as she saw everything happen on her phone. Producers told her she wanted to meet with Rashida on camera. One final conversation, she wrote. Rashida hit decline, but Mona authorized it right away. After posting a story with the words, I finished sharing the microphone. At last, nightfall had arrived. The documentary debut of Rasheeda. Downtown Atlanta was decked out in a slick black and gold carpet. Rashida pulled up, celebrities pulled up, and paparazzi lined up. She got out of an SUV that was matte black. Cameras flashed like thunder as she wore a glittering floor-length gown with bespoke embroidery that said, Wife, Warrior, Woman. Her glamorous group had surpassed themselves. Her aura is indestructible. Indestructible. Jasmine wasn't on the guest list, so beneath the glamour and elegance, a tempest was building. However, she was en route. The atmosphere within the venue was tremendous. The VH1 cameras were in motion. Insiders in the industry were whispering, Rasheeda is having her moment. The lights went down. The documentary's opening rolled. The black and white video of Rasheeda's wedding was narrated by her voice. Her betrayal, her tears. With embarrassment, they attempted to hush me. I'm still here, stronger, louder, and more real than the chaos they tried to replace me with. Backstage, the audience burst out. Before a security guard entered, Rashida's group was having a party. Whispering, she's here, he said. Inquired Rasheeda's helper. Oh, Jasmine. She's in the lobby. It's in the lobby. Wearing a form-fitting black dress, Jasmine stood outside the ballroom doors. Fury seething, lip gloss on, bump out. She was not present to offer congratulations. Her purpose was to create a stir. I deserve to talk, she yelled. Rasheeda, you said the truth. How about mine? Although security attempted to reassure her, cameras had I've already seen her. They were recording phones. People were turning. The building's atmosphere changed from red carpet to red alert. Rasheeda abruptly emerged from the backstage area. Caseman retorted, You already spoke, Jasmine. This isn't your mic anymore. She calmly stared Jasmine in the face. Do you think you're better than me? If you walked away and left him with me? I'm raising his child while you collect sympathy. Rashida's grin disappeared. She moved forward, murmuring, loud enough to be heard by all. Additionally, you will raise that child with the knowledge that their father was never yours in the first place. I told you his lies. I remained silent. Boom. A dot. The audience let out a gasp. Security caught Jasmine before she could make a move. One of the heels flew off. Unfazed, Rasheeda returned to the ballroom when a camera fell and Mona was whispering to her assistant in the corner, Don't cut. This is Emmy-worthy. The documentary's last scene, which saw her leaving her former home, was now displayed on the television. slow motion of a wedding ring falling on the sidewalk. Then, everyone was taken aback by the film's final 5 seconds. A startling voiceover began. Rashida was the one, calm, lucid, and strong. When it's over, some ladies cry. Finally remembering who I was before I ever said I do made me happy. Turn black. Rasheeda didn't simply end a chapter with that. She wrote a new book and burnt the old one. Rashida used the entire plot to her advantage when Jasmine attempted to take center stage. Oh, no collapses, no pleading, only progress, strength, and presence. After being revealed by his daughter, rejected by his wife, and now forgotten by society, Kirk was forced to bear the consequences of his conduct. Although Rashida's legacy is a baby, Jasmine's is not. It's a movement, a symbol, and a reminder that chaos is not a match for true queens. They get up from it. Supporters are referring to this as the biggest comeback in hip-hop and romantic history. And the way Rasheeda executed it with fire and grace, sweetheart, it's a master. Keep your eyes open, subscribe, and tune in because the next time Rasheeda appears on TV, she's not merely narrating her story, she's possessing the entire show.